Have you ever worked really, really hard for something, finally got it, but still felt completely empty inside? We live in a world that constantly tells us we have to be number one. We are taught to outsmart, outwork, and outpace everyone around us just to get to the top. But what if the way we measure winning is completely wrong? What if reaching the top alone is actually the biggest failure of all? Today, I want to share a powerful story about success with you. It is a story that completely changed how I look at my own life, and I think it might change yours too. There was once a young, highly skilled mountain climber named Leo. Leo was a force of nature. He was strong, agile, and fiercely determined. But Leo had one single obsession in life. He had to be the best. For him, the only thing that mattered was reaching the summit before anyone else. He measured his entire worth by how fast he could climb and how many people he could leave behind in his dust. Every year, a massive climbing festival was held at the base of a towering, dangerous peak known as Mount Serenity. Climbers from all over the world gathered there, not just to test their strength, but to experience the journey together. But Leo didn't care about the journey or the people. He only cared about the gold medal waiting at the top. On the first day of the festival, a preliminary race was held to reach the halfway camp. As soon as the starting horn blew, Leo shot forward. He didn't look left, he didn't look right, he just climbed. He ignored the beautiful scenery, and he ignored the other climbers who were struggling with the rocky paths. Hours later, Leo pulled himself onto the snowy ledge of the halfway camp, miles ahead of everyone else. He threw his arms in the air, shouting in triumph. He had won. He felt like a king. But as the hours passed and the other climbers finally started to arrive, Leo noticed something strange. They were arriving in groups. They were tired, panting, and covered in dirt, but they were laughing. They were patting each other on the back, sharing their water, and celebrating the fact that they made it together. Nobody was looking at Leo. Nobody cared that he got there first. Sitting near the campfire was an old, legendary local guide named Silas. Silas had climbed every mountain in the region and was respected by everyone. He watched Leo sitting alone, polishing his climbing gear, looking annoyed that no one was praising him. Silas walked over and sat down next to the young climber. "You are very fast, my boy," Silas said quietly. Leo puffed out his chest. "I'm the fastest. I beat them all. I'll beat them all again tomorrow when we climb to the main summit." Silas shook his head slowly. "You know how to climb rocks, Leo, but you do not yet know how to climb a mountain. Tomorrow, I have a special challenge for you. If you truly want to prove you are the best, you will not climb alone. You fine? Give me the strongest guys here. We'll break the world record." But Silas didn't bring him the strongest guys. The next morning, as everyone gathered for the final, most difficult climb, Silas brought two people over to Leo. One was a young teenage boy who had twisted his ankle the day before and was terrified of the heights. The other was an elderly man carrying a heavy backpack whose dream was to see the summit just once before his time ran out, but his legs were weak and shaky. Leo was furious. "You've got to be kidding me," he whispered to Silas. "They're going to slow me down. I'll lose." Silas simply looked at him and said, "The mountain is waiting." The final climb began, and almost immediately Leo's frustration boiled over. The teenager slipped on the loose rocks, crying out in fear. The elderly man had to stop every few minutes to catch his breath. Leo was pacing back and forth, looking up at the summit, watching other climbers pass them by. His desire to win was burning a hole in his chest. Finally, Leo couldn't take it anymore. "I can't do this," he shouted. "I'm a champion. I belong at the top." Without another word, Leo left them behind. He turned his back on the frightened boy and the exhausted old man, and he sprinted up the mountain. He used all his skill and power, pushing his body to the absolute limit. He overtook everyone, and just as the sun reached its highest point, Leo stepped onto the final peak. He was the first one there. He threw his arms in the air, expecting the organizers and the people waiting at the top to cheer. He expected applause, but there was only silence. The people at the summit just looked at him. There was no joy in their eyes. A few moments later, Silas stepped out from the crowd. He walked up to Leo, who was breathing heavily and looking confused. "Where is your team, Leo?" Silas asked. "They were too slow," Leo defended himself. "I had to leave them. I had to win. Why isn't anyone cheering?" Silas looked at him with eyes full of pity. Because you left your humanity at the bottom of the mountain. Anyone can run fast when they only carry themselves, but true strength is carrying the weight of others. Why winning isn't everything is the lesson the mountain was trying to teach you today. You reached the top, but you are completely empty. Leo looked around at the silent crowd, and then he looked down at the treacherous path he had just climbed. For the first time in his life, the gold medal didn't feel important. He felt a deep, heavy shame in his heart. Without saying a word, Leo turned around and began to climb back down the mountain. He climbed down past the other groups, down the steep cliffs, until he finally found them. The old man and the teenager were sitting on a rock, looking defeated, ready to turn back. Leo walked up to them. He didn't complain, he didn't look at his watch, he simply reached out and took the heavy backpack from the old man's shoulders and strapped it onto his own. Then he offered his hand to the terrified teenager. "Come on," Leo said softly. "We are going to the top, together." For the next several hours, Leo didn't act like a champion racer. He acted like a guide. He placed the teenager's feet on the safest rocks. He let the old man lean on his shoulder when the wind blew too hard. He offered them his water. He told them stories to keep their minds off the pain. Step by step, inch by inch, they moved upward. The sun was beginning to set, painting the sky in beautiful shades of orange and purple when they finally approached the summit. They were the very last ones to arrive. But as Leo, the old man, and the young boy stepped onto the peak, holding each other's hands, something incredible happened. The entire crowd of climbers erupted. People were cheering, crying, and clapping so loudly that it echoed across the mountains. They rushed forward, wrapping blankets around the old man and hugging the young boy. Silas walked up to Leo, smiling warmly, and placed a hand on his shoulder. "Listen to them, Leo," the old man said. "Before, they were silent for a winner. Now they are cheering for a leader." In that moment, Leo finally understood. Life is not a solo sprint to the top. If you climb over others to get what you want, you will find yourself standing alone in the cold. But if you reach down and pull others up with you, your victory will be shared, celebrated, and remembered forever. When you look back at your journey, you won't care about the trophies on your shelf. You will care about the people whose lives you touched. If you are truly seeking personal growth, you must realize that the true meaning of success is found in who you help along the way. Making this realization requires a profound mindset shift. You have to discover the right motivation for success, not just for yourself, but for your community. By practicing this kind of positive thinking, you will unlock a deeper, unbreakable life motivation. I really hope this inspirational story guides you on your own path of self-improvement, because developing a genuine success mindset means understanding that we never truly win unless we win together. That is a life-changing lesson we should all carry in our hearts. If this story touched your heart today, please leave a like, share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe. Your support helps me bring more meaningful stories to you. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you in the next one.